Donald Trump recently lost a lawyer that was working on his Georgia case, and this lawyer had been described by advisors who spoke to Rolling Stone recently as, quote, the most competent lawyer out of all of the legal teams that Donald Trump has assembled. But now this lawyer, Drew Findling, has left. And, according to the report, multiple sources that again spoke to Rolling Stone said that part of the reason is because, like pretty much all of the rest of Trump's lawyers, he clashed with Boris Epstein. Let me read you this from the report. Several high-ranking members of Team Trump asked one another why the ex-president would ditch someone who was internally viewed as perhaps Trump's single most competent attorney. Findling was in the middle of leading the legal defense against the one prosecution that is likely the most perilous for Trump, and the lawyer was replaced just as the former president was about to have his historic mugshot taken in Georgia. So Findling, of course, has been off the case for over a month now. And as we've seen, Donald Trump has not been performing so well in the state of Georgia. As I recently reported, he has actually been reduced to having his lawyers copy the motions filed by other lawyers, right? They don't want to have to come up with their own arguments, so they're looking at what the other co-defendants are filing, and they're just kind of using that to make their own filings, and it's not going well for any of them because the seemingly only competent member of their team is gone. Now, the report also points out something interesting. In addition, of course, to the clashing with Boris Epstein, who has Donald Trump's ear much to the chagrin of the rest of the legal team, it said that Findling was actually tasked with preventing the RICO charges from being filed against Donald Trump, which is a weird thing to task a lawyer with, because the only way a lawyer can, I don't want to use the interfere, but I guess use the word interfere, but I guess the only way a lawyer can have sway over what charges are brought against their client is if they have their client make a deal with the prosecutors beforehand. So giving Findling the task, if they did give him the task of trying to make sure he didn't get hit with RICO charges, then Trump would have had to have been open to accepting a plea deal, which, as far as we know, was not the case. So they basically gave this lawyer a task that was literally impossible for him to complete, at least successfully. Obviously, Trump did get hit with those RICO charges. There was no plea deal, and Trump is still facing the felony counts in Georgia, along with his 18 other co-defendants. But this is bad news for Trump because this report goes on to state that his advisors are essentially panicking. They don't know how he's going to craft a good legal defense when he doesn't have any good lawyers left. Donald Trump, as I've been saying for months now, every time he gets a good lawyer, I'll come on and do a segment like, hey, he's hired a guy. This person has a great resume. They're actually pretty good at their job. They're experts in white-collar criminal defense. Maybe Trump's turning a corner. And then a couple months later, it's like, oh, wait, never mind. That lawyer's now gone. It happened with Tim Parlatore. It happened with, his name escapes me at the moment, but the lawyer who had to handle the E. Jean Carroll defamation case, Tacopina, didn't work out so well either. And these were decent lawyers, good lawyers with good resumes, honestly, that just can't do it with Trump. And I think blaming everything on Epstein, I think that's kind of a cop-out. I think what a lot of these lawyers realize once they get in and actually start doing work for Donald Trump is he can't be controlled. If you do not have a client that is not willing, I should say, to take your advice, that will not shut up when you know they need to shut up, a client that continues to go out there in the media and effectively admit to the crimes he is being charged with, no lawyer wants to take that case. So I'm willing to bet this is not the last lawyer that we're going to see leave Team Trump, and Trump is also probably going to try to use this as an excuse to get his trials pushed back. But hopefully the judges do not buy into those arguments, because the only reason these lawyers are leaving is because of the way that Donald Trump is behaving himself, and you can't blame that on the council. That's all on Trump. Hey everyone, this is Aspen. And did you know that for the low cost of $0 per day, you can subscribe to the Fair and Balanced YouTube channel. We also encourage you to like, comment, and share, but again, click that subscribe button and help Aspen not be so grumpy.